We start off with some heavy exposition about Valisthea, a land blessed by the light of the mother crystals. It sounds great on paper, but the vibe is instantly ominous. The narrator mentions that this light led their ancestors out of darkness, but also tempted them. It's basically setting the stage for a society that is way too dependent on magic rocks, and you just know this dependency is going to crash and burn spectacularly. The music kicks in, and it's already giving epic tragedy energy. We meet young Clive Rosfield, and he is trying so hard to prove he's not a total flop. He's sparring and showing off his skills, but there's this heavy expectation hanging over him. His little brother, Joshua, is the Phoenix dominant, basically the chosen one with the fire powers, but the kid is sickly and frail. Clive is the first shield, sworn to protect him, giving major overprotective big brother energy. You can tell Clive feels like he has to overcompensate for not being the special one. Their dad, the Archduke, comes home, and the family dynamic is messy. Clive gets ignored while everyone fawns over Joshua. We learn that war is brewing because the blight is spreading, basically a magical climate crisis killing the land. The Archduke decides it's time to take action against the Iron Kingdom to secure a mother crystal. It's clear that resources are running low, and desperate times are calling for some very desperate, violent measures. Annabella, Clive, and Joshua's mom is literally the worst. She's dragging her husband for taking Joshua to Phoenix Gate because she treats the kid like a porcelain doll. Then she turns her attention to Clive and absolutely roasts him, calling him a failure and worthless because the Phoenix rejected him. It's peak toxic parenting. She cares more about bloodlines and status than her actual children, and the gaslighting is off the charts. Clive is sent on his first mission to clear out some goblins, trying to prove his worth. It goes sideways when a Malboro, a giant bad breath tentacle monster, shows up. Clive handles it, proving he's actually cracked at combat, but the situation is grim. We see that the blight has totally ruined this area, turning it into a dead zone. It's a harsh reality check that the world is dying, and fighting monsters is just a band-aid on a bullet wound. Clive and Joshua have a heart-to-heart that is honestly too wholesome for this world. Joshua feels guilty that he got the Phoenix power instead of Clive, thinking his brother would make a better leader. Clive shuts that down, promising to be Joshua's shield no matter what. It's a pure moment of brotherly love, which in this genre usually means something terrible is about to happen to destroy their happiness forever. And there it is, the betrayal. While they are camping at Phoenix Gate, they get ambushed. Turns out there are traitors within their own ranks, working with the Empire. It's absolute chaos. Soldiers are dying, everything is on fire, and the Archduke gets killed right in front of Joshua. The trauma is instant and severe. Joshua is freaking out, and the stress triggers the Phoenix to emerge, but he's totally losing control of the power. The situation goes from bad to nightmare fuel. Joshua fully transforms into the Phoenix and starts scorching everything indiscriminately. Clive tries to stop him, but then a second icon of fire, Ifrit, appears out of nowhere. This shouldn't be possible since there's only supposed to be one icon per element. The Hellfire icon attacks the Phoenix, and Clive is forced to watch as his brother gets absolutely brutalized by this mysterious monster. Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. The fight between the two fire icons is savage. The Phoenix fights back, but Ifrit is just too violent. We see Clive screaming in agony, watching his brother get beaten to death. It ends with the Phoenix falling, and Clive passes out, swearing revenge on the monster that killed Joshua. The prologue ends with maximum tragedy. leaving Clive broken, his family destroyed, and his home in ruins. It's a 10-10 trauma origin story. Fast forward 13 years, Clive is now a branded soldier named Wyvern, serving the Empire. He's essentially a slave, forced to do suicide missions to stay alive. The glowdown is real. He's depressed, silent, and just following orders. His squad is sent to hunt down Shiva's dominant. Clive is basically dead inside, driven only by the memory of that night at Phoenix Gate and his desire for revenge against the Second Fire Eikon. The mission goes south when they corner Shiva's dominant. Clive realizes it's Jill, his childhood friend who was basically like a sister to him. He refuses to execute her, finally snapping out of his obedient trance. He turns on his own squad, killing his sergeant to save her. It's a massive turning point. Clive reclaims his agency and decides he's done being a tool for the Empire, even if it means fighting the whole world. Just as they are about to get overwhelmed by a Titan icon, Cid shows up like an absolute boss. He blasts in with lightning magic, Ramu, and rescues Clive and Jill. Cid is charming, roguish, and instantly likable. He whisks them away, saving them from certain death. This is the start of the found family arc, and honestly, Cid is the father figure Clive desperately needs right now. Back at Cid's hideaway in the Deadlands, Clive is still obsessed with revenge. Cid tries to recruit him, explaining that he wants to help people live on their own terms. Clive is hesitant, focused only on killing the Second Fire Dominant. Cid drops some intel about a Fire Dominant being spotted, using Clive's thirst for vengeance to get him to tag along. It's manipulative, but for a good cause, so we let it slide. While trekking through a forest, they run into some royalist soldiers hunting a dominant. Clive fights them off, showing he's still got elite combat skills. Cid reveals he is Ramu's dominant, but hates being defined by it. He talks about how dominants and bearers are treated like tools and discarded when they break. He's basically trying to start a revolution against the caste system, and his ideology starts chipping away at Clive's walls. They ambush a group of soldiers led by Benedicta Harmon, the dominant of Garuda. She's captured the fire dominant they were tracking. Benedicta is toxic, manipulative, and clearly has a messy history with Cid. The tension is palpable. She's playing games, and Clive is just caught in the middle of this ex-lover's quarrel, trying to find his target. It's giving dramatic soap opera, but with deadly magic. Clive and Cid track Benedicta to a fortress. Clive confronts his past, realizing that chasing ghosts won't fix anything, but he still needs answers. Benedicta is holding the fire dominant captive, but it turns out to be a trap. She's trying to lure Cid back to her side or destroy him. The psychological warfare is intense, and Benedicta is clearly spiraling, losing her composure as things don't go her way. Cid finally lays out his full vision to Clive. He wants to build a place where people can die with dignity, free from being slaves to the crystals. It's grim, but hopeful. Clive starts to see the bigger picture beyond his own revenge. They storm the keep to rescue the prisoners, but Benedicta is waiting. She's desperate and dangerous, feeling cornered by Cid's rejection and her own insecurities. The confrontation with Benedicta escalates into a full-blown icon battle. She loses it, transforms into Garuda, and wrecks the place. Clive fights her, tapping into Ifrit's power instinctively. It's a kaiju beatdown. Clive manages to defeat her and inadvertently absorbs her wind powers. This is huge. Clive can take other icons' abilities. Benedicta is left broken and powerless, completely stripped of her identity as a dominant. After the fight, a mysterious hooded man appears, watching Clive. Clive tries to pursue him, but he vanishes. Back at the fortress, Benedicta is captured by bandits and meets a gruesome end. It's a dark turn that shows how vulnerable dominants are without their power. Meanwhile, Clive is struggling with the new power he absorbed, feeling like he's losing control. The mystery of his own nature is deepening. Clive finally faces his own shadow. In a hallucinogenic sequence, he confronts the truth he's been suppressing for 13 years. He isn't chasing the second fire icon. He is the second fire icon. He killed Joshua. The realization breaks him. He begs Cid to kill him, unable to live with the guilt. Cid refuses, telling him to own it and find a way to make amends. It's the lowest point for Clive, but essential for his growth. Back at the hideaway, Jill wakes up and they finally talk. She reveals her own trauma, how the Iron Kingdom enslaved her and forced her to use Shiva to kill innocent people. She felt like a monster, just like Clive. They bond over their shared guilt and the fact that they were both used as weapons. It's a somber moment, but having each other makes the burden slightly lighter. The healing era begins now. They visit Martha's Rest, a settlement sympathetic to bearers. They learn about the horrific reality of the crystal curse. Bearers turn to stone as they use magic. They visit an abbey where bearers are dying in agony, petrified statues of their former selves. It's body horror central. This reinforces why Cid's mission is necessary. The system is literally grinding people into dust, and nobody in power cares. Clive and Jill return to Eastpool, a village from their past. It's a nostalgia trip mixed with sadness. They meet an old bearer who used to serve the Archduke. The old man is holding on to the past, waiting for a master who is never coming back. It highlights how deep the indoctrination goes. Even when free, these people don't know how to live without serving someone. Clive plays along to give the old man some peace. The encounter with the old bearer hits hard. Clive realizes that freedom is terrifying for people who have been bred to serve. He decides he needs to do more than just fight. He needs to give them something to live for. Meanwhile, the blight is encroaching on the village, showing that even if they escape the Empire, the land itself is dying. The existential dread is ramping up. They travel to the ruins of Phoenix Gate to find answers. The place is pristine, untouched by time, which is suspicious. They descend into the Apoditery, discovering it's actually tech from a fallen civilization. It's giving sci-fi vibes in a fantasy game. Clive is looking for the hooded man he saw that night, convinced that this figure holds the key to why he turned into Ifrit. Clive faces a trial within the ruins, fighting a mirror image of himself. He fully accepts the truth. I am the fire. By accepting Ifrit as part of himself rather than a curse, he gains control over the transformation. No more going berserk. He steps out of the ruins, ready to stop running from his past. Jill is there to support him, solidifying their partnership. He's done being a victim of fate. We cut to the capital, where Annabella is now the Empress of Sanbreke. She is scheming with the Emperor, pushing for expansion. We learn she abandoned Rosaria to rot so she could marry up. She's cold, calculating, and completely dismissive of the suffering she's caused. She views her own son, Dion, Bahamut, with suspicion. She is the ultimate girl boss villain, gaslighting an entire empire for her own gain. Clive and Cid arrive in Northreach and meet Isabel, the dame. She runs the town and is an old friend of Cid's. She agrees to help them sneak into the capital if they help her with some local trouble. We see that Cid has connections everywhere. The man is basically the underground kingpin of Valisthea. Isabel is tough but fair, protecting her girls in the town from the Empire's cruelty. Clive investigates a missing courtesan for Isabel. He finds her and an Imperial soldier dead outside town, a tragic Romeo and Juliet situation gone wrong. It's a small side story, but it humanizes the people caught in the conflict. It shows that even soldiers want out of this miserable war. Clive reports back to Isabel, earning her trust and a pass into the capital. The squad infiltrates the capital through an underground tunnel filled with magic ether. Cid reveals his master plan: destroy the mother crystals. He explains that the crystals are sucking the planet dry, causing the blight. Destroying them will stop magic, but save the world. It's a radical, world-altering move. Clive is on board. If the world is broken, they might as well smash it completely and build something new. They reach the Mother Crystal's heart. Just as they destroy it, a cosmic horror entity named Typhon emerges from a portal. It's an interdimensional nightmare. Then an entity named Ultima appears, talking about Clive being a vessel. It attacks them and Cid throws himself in the way. He takes a fatal blow to save Clive, sacrificing himself so the new generation can live. It's a devastating loss. Cid dies, giving his Reimu powers to Clive. His last words are about living on one's own terms. It's a tear-jerker. The destruction of the crystal causes a massive explosion. We get a time jump, 5 years later. Clive is now leading the Hideaway, having taken the name Cid to keep the legend alive. He's rocking the outlaw look and is fully committed to the cause. The student has become the master. New Cid, Clive, is saving bearers and fighting the system. But it's not all glory. The people they save are often ungrateful, terrified that the outlaws' help will just bring the Empire's wrath down on them. It's a thankless job. Clive struggles with the weight of leadership, realizing that saving people who don't want to be saved is exhausting. But he keeps going because it's what the original Cid would have done. We see the consequences of their actions. Bearers blame Clive for making their lives harder. Without the crystals, life is tough, and the Empire is cracking down harder than ever. Clive has to accept that being a hero makes you a villain to some. He's playing the long game, fighting for a freedom that people are too scared to accept yet. It's gritty, realistic, and depressing. Back at the new Hideaway, which is in an ancient airship, very cool, they plan their next move. Hugo Kupka, the Titan dominant, is hunting Cid for killing Benedicta. He's obsessed with revenge. Clive decides to stop hiding and take the fight to him. They aim to destroy the next Mother Crystal, Drake's Breath, in the Iron Kingdom. It's two birds with one stone: save the planet and settle the score with Kupka. They get news that Martha's Rest is being targeted by Black Shields, a death squad sent by Annabella to cull bearers. They rush to help and find a massacre. It's brutal. Annabella is actively purging anyone with magic. Clive and his crew wipe out the Black Shields in a rage. It's a reminder that while they are fighting gods and crystals, human evil is still the most immediate threat. Clive and Jill prepare to sail to the Iron Kingdom. This is personal for Jill. This is where she was enslaved. She wants to kill the Patriarch, the religious zealot who runs the place. Clive supports her, shifting into the supportive role. It's Jill's turn to get her revenge and closure. They sail into a storm, metaphorically and literally, ready to burn the Iron Kingdom to the ground. Before they leave, they meet up with Wade, a survivor from the Phoenix Gate attack, who now leads a resistance group called the Guardians of the Flame. It's a touching reunion. Wade thought Clive was dead, and seeing his liege lord alive reignites his hope. They team up to defend the local bearers. It shows that Clive's past as a Rosarian noble still inspires loyalty, even after everything fell apart. In the Iron Kingdom, they sneak into the shrine. It's a volcanic hellscape. They find the Mother Crystal, but the Patriarch blocks their way. He's a fanatic, spouting nonsense about purity while treating people like garbage. He tries to command Jill, thinking she's still his slave. Jill isn't having it. She transforms into Shiva and absolutely wrecks him. It's a glorious moment of reclaiming her power and agency. Jill corners the Patriarch. He begs for mercy, but she gives him none. She executes him, ending his reign of terror. Then she and Clive destroy the Mother Crystal, Drake's breath. Another one down. The destruction triggers a vision of Ultima again, and we get a glimpse of Joshua. He's alive. He's fighting Ultima in some spirit realm, trying to seal the entity away. The plot thickens. Joshua has been working in the shadows this whole time. They escape as the volcano collapses. Jill is exhausted but free. She has finally closed the door on her traumatic past. Clive is there to catch her. They have a tender moment, realizing that destroying the crystals is the right path, even if it's dangerous. They are rewriting the rules of the world together. Meanwhile, the political fallout is massive, and the other nations are panicking. We see Joshua interacting with Dion, Bahamut. Joshua warns him about Ultima's influence. It seems Ultima is manipulating everything, including the Emperor and Annabella. Joshua is playing 4D chess, trying to stop the apocalypse while keeping his distance from Clive for some reason. He's mysterious, powerful, and clearly carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Annabella is plotting again. She introduces her new son, Olivier, who is creepy and definitely evil. She plans to replace Dion with Olivier as the heir. She dismisses the destruction of the Mother Crystals as a minor nuisance, focused only on her own power. She is completely delusional, thinking she can control forces she doesn't understand. Her hubris is blinding her to the fact that she's just a pawn in Ultima's game. Hugo Kupka loses it. He attacks Rosalith, Clive's old home, just to draw him out. He captures Jill and threatens to execute her publicly. It's a trap, and Clive knows it, but he has no choice. He rushes to the castle. It's a high-stakes rescue mission. Kupka is fueled by pure rage and grief over Benedicta, and he wants to make Clive suffer. It's a clash of unstoppable forces. Clive storms the castle. He finds Kupka in the throne room, holding Jill hostage. Kupka tries to bait Clive, mocking his family and his failures. Clive keeps his cool, focused on saving Jill. Torgal, Clive's wolf, who is also a magical beast, turns out, helps distract Kupka. They manage to free Jill, but Kupka isn't done. He challenges Clive to a duel, wanting to settle this with blood. The fight is brutal. Clive and Kupka throw hands. Clive reveals that he killed Benedicta, not the original Cid. This breaks Kupka completely. He goes berserk, screaming about revenge. Clive counters, saying Kupka's obsession has blinded him. They fight, and Clive slices off Kupka's hands. It's gruesome. Kupka retreats, broken and humiliated, swearing he will return. It's a decisive victory, but the war isn't over. Back at the Hideaway, Mid returns. She's Cid's daughter and an engineering genius. She wants to build an airship engine to help the cause. She brings a fun, nerdy energy to the team. Clive is happy to support her, giving him a break from all the murder and angst. They start building a workshop for her. It's a nice breather episode before the next disaster strikes. We get a lore drop about Torgal. Turns out he's not just a dog. He's a frost wolf, a legendary beast connected to Shiva. That explains why he can shoot magic and fly. It adds another layer to the destiny theme. Even the dog is chosen. Clive and Jill realize Torgal has been powering up alongside them. He's the best boy, confirmed. Clive tracks down his Uncle Byron to ask for help getting to the next Mother Crystal. Byron thinks Clive is an imposter at first and challenges him to a duel. When he realizes it's really Clive, he breaks down in tears. It's incredibly heartwarming. Byron is rich, flamboyant, and completely on Clive's side. He immediately offers his wealth and connections to help the rebellion. Finally, a supportive family member. Byron joins the party, and he is hilarious. He treats their covert mission like a fun adventure. They stop at an inn, and Byron complains about the food, while Clive tries to stay low-key. It's a great dynamic. They are heading into the Dalmatian desert to finish off Kupka once and for all. Byron's optimism balances out Clive's brooding. We love a rich Uncle Ex Machina. They arrive in a desert town run by a merchant named Lubor. He's a slippery guy, asking them to do favors before he helps them. Clive and Byron have to navigate the local politics. They uncover a plot where Kupka's soldiers are hoarding crystals and working with Warlode, another kingdom. It's a web of conspiracies. Clive realizes the geopolitical situation is even messier than he thought. Byron pulls a power move. He uses his massive wealth to entrap the corrupt soldiers, pretending to buy illegal crystals. It works perfectly. They expose the corruption and clear the town of Kupka's influence. Lubor is impressed and agrees to give them a pass to travel south. It shows that sometimes you don't need a sword. You just need a massive bag of gold and some acting skills. Clive and his Uncle Byron are absolutely locking in on their mission to infiltrate Drake's Fang, and the vibes are incredibly tense. They're planning to crash Hugo Kupka's party, but the place is crawling with royalists, which is a major red flag. Uncle Byron is basically being the supportive hype man, dropping some wisdom about secret entrances, while Clive is just ready to end Hugo's whole career. Hugo Kupka is having a total meltdown and hallucinating Benedicta, which is honestly tragic, but also terrifying. He's spiraling hard, blaming everyone else for his problems, while voices in his head are gaslighting him into oblivion. It's giving main character syndrome gone wrong, and he's desperate enough to do literally anything to get his revenge on Clive for ruining his life. The battle against Titan is officially popping off, and Clive is pulling out all the stops to survive this massive encounter. Hugo has fully lost the plot and is throwing everything he has at Clive, turning into a literal mountain of rage. It's a spectacle of epic proportions, with Clive trying to dodge rocks the size of buildings while staying focused on the objective. Clive is putting in the work to take down Titan, and the sheer scale of this fight is actually insane. He's tapping into the crystal's ether to boost his power because regular attacks just aren't cutting it against a mountain-sized op. It's a high-stakes endurance round where one wrong move means getting squashed like a bug. Ultima shows up to do some cryptic yapping about human will and consciousness, acting like he's playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He's basically saying Hugo was too weak-willed to be the perfect vessel, which is a massive roast. The squad realizes this is way deeper than just a revenge plot. It's some cosmic horror-level threat. Meanwhile, Prince Dion is trying to keep the Empire from completely imploding, but the politics are getting messy. His dad, the Emperor, is making some questionable choices that have everyone side-eyeing the situation. Dion is the only one with any common sense left, trying to prevent a total massacre while staying loyal, but it's looking grim for the home team. Clive returns to the hideaway, and everyone is celebrating the fact that Hugo is finally out of the picture. It's a rare W for the team, and the vibes are immaculate for once. Otto and the crew are hyped to see Clive back in one piece, but they know the grind never stops, and there are still bigger threats looming on the horizon. Mid finally makes her grand entrance, and she is absolute chaotic good energy. She's building a ship called the Enterprise with her dad's designs, and she's not letting anyone slack off. She's bossing Clive around to get parts for the engine, proving she's the true mastermind of the engineering department. The girl boss energy is off the charts. Clive and Gav are on a fetch quest run, looking for stardust sand in the desert because Mid said so. It's a bonding moment for the boys, just chatting about life and the pressure of leading the resistance while sifting through sand. Gav is being a real one, reminding Clive that he's got a home to come back to, which is wholesome. Cid and Clive head to some ruins to get ceramic parts for the ship's heat shield, but naturally there's a dragon squatting there. They have to evict the dragon with extreme prejudice so Mid can build her engine. It's just another day at the office for them, fighting legendary beasts to run errands for the engineering team. Back at the Hideaway, Harpocrates is dropping lore about using moon dew to protect the ship from heat, because of course he knows that. Jill and Clive go grocery shopping for the ingredients, and it turns into an unexpected little date. They're buying garlic and nuts, but the romantic tension is palpable, and it's a sweet break from all the doom and gloom. Mid completely ghosts everyone on the poignant visit to her dad's grave because she's too busy being a genius. Clive and the gang realize she bolted to finish the ship, leaving them to deal with the heavy emotional stuff. It's classic deflection, but they respect the hustle. Now the squad is splitting up to head towards the crystalline dominion. Dion is having a rough time with his dad, who has basically surrendered the throne to a literal child, Olivier. Annabella is there being absolutely toxic, gaslighting Dion and manipulating the Emperor. Dion is realizing his loyalty to the crown is being exploited by people who have completely lost the plot, and he's about to snap. Clive and the crew arrive at the border of the Dominion, only to find out Guts lost their trading pass, which is a total disaster. They're stuck outside with no way in, and Guts is panicking. They have to track down a pickpocket in a crowded market, which is not the stealth mission they signed up for. They meet Eloise and her brother Theodore, who run the local black market and are honestly iconic. They agree to help get the pass back if Clive helps them deal with some bandits exploiting refugees. It's a side quest that turns into a morality check, showing how rough life is for the common folk under the Empire's rule. Clive and Theodore pull up on the bandits who have been using kids to steal stuff. They absolutely wreck the bad guys and get the passes back. It's a solid victory for the little guy, and Eloise is impressed enough to forge an alliance. They get the pass back to Gertz, who is relieved he doesn't have to explain this to his grandma. Dion finally confronts his father and Annabella, and things go south immediately. He calls out Annabella for being the villain she is, but the Emperor is too far gone to listen. Dion decides it's time for a coup because he can't let his country be run by these people anymore. He's going full rebel prince mode. Chaos erupts in Twinside as Dion's dragoons launch their attack. The city is on fire, civilians are fleeing, and it's absolute bedlam. Clive and the gang are trying to navigate the war zone to get to the Drake's Tail crystal, but the situation is rapidly deteriorating into a total nightmare scenario. Bahamut loses control and starts nuking the city, which is bad news for literally everyone. Dion has transformed and is on a rampage, and the power levels are off the charts. Clive realizes he has to step in to stop the destruction before the entire capital is wiped off the map. It's a kaiju battle in the middle of a civil war. Clive finally confronts Annabella, and she is still the absolute worst, ranting about bloodlines and power. She reveals she betrayed everyone just to have a perfect child with the Emperor. It's a heavy, emotional moment where Clive finally sees how twisted his mother's worldview is, right before everything falls apart. The battle against Bahamut goes into space, basically. Ifrit and Phoenix team up in what is arguably the most hype sequence ever. They are flying through the stratosphere, blasting lasers, and fusing into a super Eikon to take down the Dragon King. It's visual overload, and the stakes have never been higher. In the aftermath, Dion accidentally kills his father during the scuffle, which is tragic. Annabella, realizing her plans are ruined and her perfect son, Olivier, is just a puppet for Ultima, takes the easy way out. It's a gruesome end to the family drama, leaving Dion broken and the Empire in complete ruins. Time skip happens and the world has gone to absolute trash. The sky is gloomy and purple thanks to primogenesis, and everyone is depressed. Clive is now leading the resistance properly, but the situation is dire. The blight is spreading, monsters are everywhere, and people are losing hope fast. It's the darkest timeline for real. Clive and the crew head to Dalimil to help save the town from bandits and hunger. The locals are fighting amongst themselves, so Clive has to play diplomat and get them to work together. It's a lesson in community building amidst the apocalypse, proving that unity is the only way to survive when the world is ending. They run into Wade, who is somehow still alive and leading a resistance group, which is a massive glow-up for him. It's a heartfelt reunion, but there's no time to celebrate because they're being swarmed by Akashic monsters. Clive jumps into the fray to save his old friends, showing that he never forgets his day ones. Joshua finally drops the lore dump on Ultima, explaining that the big bad is an alien god thing that wants to possess Clive. He reveals the mural that shows all the icons merging into one vessel. It's a lot to process, but it confirms that Clive is the key to everything, which is huge pressure. The crew rushes to Canver to save the day, but they run into Barnabas, the king of Waylode and Odin's dominant. He's incredibly menacing and effortlessly strong, treating the whole battle like a game. He starts monologuing about consciousness and will, making it clear he's a zealous follower of Ultima. Clive tries to fight Odin and gets absolutely humbled. Barnabas cuts the sea in half just to flex and wipes the floor with Clive. It's a devastating loss that shows just how wide the power gap is. Clive barely escapes with his life, and the Enterprise takes heavy damage. The squad is reeling from the defeat. Mid works her magic to fix the Enterprise just in time for them to pursue Barnabas's ship, the Black Galleon. It's a desperate chase across the ocean, with the team knowing they're walking into a trap. The tension is high as they prepare for a rematch they aren't sure they can win. They catch up to Barnabas, and he starts testing Clive again, pushing him to his limits. The fight is brutal, and Barnabas is just toying with them. Shiva steps in to save Clive at the last second, freezing the ocean to create an escape route. It's a chaotic retreat, but they manage to survive the encounter. On a frozen beach, Clive and Jill have a heart-to-heart. Clive is feeling defeated, but Jill gives him a pep talk and offers him her Eikon's power. It's a deeply romantic and pivotal moment where she chooses to trust him with everything she has. They share a tender moment that solidifies their bond before the final push. Back at the Hideaway, Vivian breaks down the map of Ash, the final continent. It's basically Mordor at this point, hostile, blighted, and fortified. They have to plan a stealth insertion because a frontal assault is suicide. The strategy session sets the stage for the endgame, with everyone knowing there's no turning back. The team lands on Ash, and it's a ghost town. The sky is oppressive, and the few people left are weirdly calm or missing. They encounter Odin's horse, Sleipnir, who taunts them and leads them on a chase. It's creepy and unsettling, building the atmosphere that this entire continent is just an altar for Ultima. Clive climbs the Tower of Reverie to confront Barnabas. Barnabas goes on a massive rant about how free will is a curse and everyone should just be Akashic puppets for God. Clive isn't buying what he's selling, arguing that the struggle of life is what gives it meaning. It's a clash of ideologies before the clash of swords. Clive finally defeats Odin in a spectacular duel. He proves that human will is stronger than blind faith. Barnabas actually seems happy to lose, having finally felt the thrill of a real fight. Clive absorbs Odin's power, completing the set of icons, but the victory is somber as they realize the cost of this war. Dion returns to the fold, seeking redemption for his actions in the Dominion. He wants to help Clive and Joshua, proving he's still a hero at heart. The squad is now fully assembled with the 3 strongest icons, ready to take the fight to Ultima. It's the Avengers Assemble moment we've been waiting for. The group reaches the gates of Stoneyr, only to find an army of Akashic waiting for them. It looks impossible, but then Gav and the rest of the resistance show up to clear the path. It's a massive team effort, showing that Clive's influence has inspired people to fight for their own future. Ultima drags the brothers into a rift to lecture them about history. He reveals that humanity was created just to breed a vessel for him, and that magic is what caused the blight. It's a massive revelation that reframes the entire history of their world. The brothers reject his twisted logic and fight their way out. Clive and Joshua escape the rift, rejecting Ultima's paradise. They affirm that the world belongs to humanity, flaws and all. They destroy the final Mother Crystal at Stoneyr, signaling the end of the Age of Crystals. It's a decisive blow against Ultima's plan, but the god is not finished yet. Just when they think they've won, Ultima summons Origin, a massive crystal floating in the sky. It's his final fortress and the stage for the end of the world. The team realizes the fight isn't over, and they have to figure out how to board this floating Death Star. The stakes have officially gone cosmic. While preparing for the final battle, Joshua's health is deteriorating fast. Clive goes on a quest to find special herbs to ease his brother's pain. It's a quiet, sad moment amidst the chaos, highlighting how much Clive cares for his little brother and how much Joshua has sacrificed. A messenger from the Undying brings the brothers their father's will. They receive matching armbands that Archduke Elwyn intended for them, symbolizing their bond. It's a tear-jerker moment that gives them closure with their dad and strengthens their resolve to finish what he started. Clive and Joshua visit their father's memorial to pay their respects. They promise to save the world and live up to his legacy. It's a beautiful scene of the brothers standing together, finally united as the shield and the phoenix, ready to face the end of the world. Clive takes a moment to do something nice for Jill, helping Hortense get some fabric. He picks out a red cloth for her, knowing she needs a pick-me-up. It's a small gesture, but it shows that even at the end of the world, he's thinking about making her happy. Clive takes Jill to a field of snow daisies, recreating a memory from their childhood. It's incredibly romantic and bittersweet. Jill realizes that Clive is her sunrise, and they share a moment of pure peace before the storm. She gives him a garland, and it's the emotional peak of their relationship. Back at the Hideaway, people are finding weird dusk crystals that shouldn't exist. Harpocrates and Vivian figure out these might be artificial crystals made by the Fallen. This leads the team to investigate a hidden tower, realizing there might be one last loose end to tie up before Origin. Clive and the crew infiltrate the Sage's Spire, a fallen tower filled with high-tech defenses and creepy experiments. They discover the Fallen were trying to make their own Mother Crystal and Icons, which explains the monsters. It's a sci-fi dungeon crawl that reveals the hubris of the ancients. At the top of the tower, they fight Omega, a superweapon created by the Fallen. It's a brutal fight against ancient technology, but they manage to scrap it. They destroy the artificial heart, ensuring that the mistakes of the past won't be repeated. It's one less threat to worry about. Just when they think they're done, a letter arrives about Leviathan, the lost icon. They travel to Mythos, a hidden village where the people of water have been hiding for a century. They meet Shula, who asks for help saving the Dominant, a baby trapped in a time-frozen giant wave. The village of Mythos is beautiful and untouched by the blight thanks to a time spell. Shula explains the tragic history of her people and how they froze Leviathan to stop a disaster. It's a whole new area with its own lore, adding another layer to the world right before the end. They head to a frozen temple to break the time spell. It's full of tawn berries, which are the stuff of nightmares. They reach the core and carefully unravel the magic, but Leviathan wakes up cranky. The baby is safe, but the icon is on a rampage, and Clive has to put it down. Clive fights Leviathan in a massive water battle. The sea serpent is incredibly powerful, throwing tsunamis and whirlpools at him. Clive channels all his Eikons to subdue the beast. It's a wet and wild fight, but he manages to calm the raging spirit and absorb the final element. With the baby safe and Leviathan calmed, Shula promises to raise the child with love. Clive invites the Mysidians to join the Hideaway, uniting yet another people. It's a hopeful ending to the side adventure, securing a future for the lost tribe of water. It's finally time for the main event. Clive, Joshua, and Dion say their final goodbyes at the Hideaway. The mood is heavy but determined. Jill gives Clive a tearful send-off, and he promises to return. The trio boards the Enterprise knowing they might not come back. They assault Origin, fighting through waves of enemies to reach the center. Ultima is waiting for them, and he's fully powered up. He summons the spirits of the previous icons to fight them. It's a boss rush mode as the three dominants fight for the right to exist. Dion sacrifices himself to give the brothers a chance, going out like a total legend. Joshua, dying from the strain, gives the last of the Phoenix's power to Clive. It's devastating, but it gives Clive the boost he needs. Joshua passes away, leaving Clive alone to face God. Clive, now powered by all icons and his brother's love, faces Ultima in a cosmic showdown. He rejects Ultima's godhood, punching him in the face with the power of humanity. He unleashes a final attack, destroying Ultima and ending his manipulation of the world once and for all. Clive uses the last of his godlike power to destroy the Crystal of Origin and erase magic from the world forever. He washes up on a beach, his hand turning to stone, looking at the moon. Back at the Hideaway, Jill cries as the dawn comes. The story ends with a book titled Final Fantasy, written by Joshua Rosfield. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.